In this video, we're painting a silver arm of the Deathwatch. This is an arm. This is a Deathwatch upgrade screw. Let's make a Deathwatch arm. So we just clip out the shoulder pad, get some plastic glue, and apply. Upgrading guys into the Deathwatch with the upgrade sprue is fairly easy. It's mostly just shoulder pads. If you remember to clean them up beforehand, unlike me, it's even easier. Alright, I primed it black, and now we're going to take this shining silver from Army Painter, and we are going to do a base coat. Got a fairly larger brush, just because this is going to get lathered all over. I'm going to have to do 2 coats of this to get the good shininess of the shiny silver. Alright, we're going to bring in some Mournfang Brown, and we're going to use this to undercoat the skull portion that we want to be gold. The Army Painter metallic paints that I use do best when having an appropriate undercoat. And this being a warm brown will make it so the greedy gold that we're going to use in a minute goes on smoothly in fewer coats. And here is the greedy gold. This is a warm, dark gold, and we're going to use this for the gold base coat. And I'm just going to take my time and be kind of slow and make sure that I'm getting the skull and not spilling over onto the shoulder pad. Because I did the brown undercoat, this greedy gold will go on in 2 coats, and the second one is mostly just touch-ups and just a little bit to make sure it's opaque and shiny. From the washes, we're going to use Nuln oil for the silver parts, and we're going to use a flush wash over the gold. Alright, the Nuln oil, we're just going to get this in where the lettering is. We're not going to wash over the entirety of the shoulder pad. We're going to get in the letters, we're going to get in the recessed details like this arch thing, I don't know what it's called, over the top, and then kind of on the bottom, and then we're going to hit some of the joints in the arm and around the fingers to help those details pop out. We're just using this to help the contrast. We don't want it to overall tint the color of the silver. Alright, so the flush wash is, we're just going to get this over mostly the skull. We want it to go in the eyes and get a little bit of the details here, and we're going to highlight this back up in a minute. Alright, speaking of highlights, Stormo Silver, this is how we're going to highlight the silver. Dry brush over the lettering portion. This way I'm sure to catch all of those interesting little details without getting down to the recesses. I've tried layering this before and I'm just not very good at it, and I always end up painting into the recess. But because there's so many sharp little corners and stuff, this will catch really well. I am going to do 2 layers of this because the engraved lettering is like the coolest part of this piece, and I want to make sure that really pops. Put a little of that Stormo silver on my palette, and I'm going to use it just to hit the most raised portion here, a little bit on the eye, and I'm going to dot all of these kind of ornamental rivet dotty things here on the inside of the arch also. And we're going to use burnished gold to highlight the skull. Metallic highlights can be interesting in that the pigment is actually lustrous, it's shiny. So when you're painting it on, sometimes it's hard to distinguish between the highlight from the paint and the highlight from the light source. When you hit it with a matte spray, it clears all this up and the highlights are just from the paint. Alright, we're going to do a second dry brush here on the lettering just to make sure that it pops and is really noticeable. that is how I do my Deathwatch arms. Well, and that is how I have been hobbying today. If you could let me know how you've been hobbying lately in the comments, I'd love to check it out.